primitive people's worship of anima in natural and inanimate objects in nature. Very beautiful account or um, discussion of the theory. But having done that, what are the critical questions that we can pose to this theory? What evaluative questions can we pose to the theory? In other words, what are the strengths can we see about this theory? And what are the challenges or the unanswered question that still persist in view of this theory? Remember last time we said that one of the strengths of E.B. Tyler's theory is that he gives a foundational definition of religion, that the worship of spirit beings, that it is widely accepted among scholars that the idea of worshiping spirit entities in nature is fundamental to the concept of religion. So it gives us a window to understand how the idea of religion evolved. It was a very good observation for E.B. Tyler to conclude or to observe that human beings propitiated both animate and inanimate objects, or had the notion that there is a component of nature that is inherent, and human beings started revering or worshiping these components long ago, and that forms the foundation of religion. It's a very good observation. So that is the strength. In terms of weaknesses, we can say that E.B. Tyler also can be criticized for being an armchair research because he did not study all primitive societies. He drew a conclusion based on what he observed in just one primitive society. And so he can be criticized for overgeneralization because the concept of ancestor worship was not a universal feature of all primitive cultures. Not all primitive societies practice what we call animism, or if you like, conceive the notion of worshiping spirits in nature. So this is one of the criticisms we can raise, and you have to do same for all the theories that we looked at. I'll pause here and find out from your readings if you have come across anything that is mind-boggling, or you have also come upon a new knowledge that you would want to share with us. You can do so before we move on to the unit 3 of our course. Anything interesting to share with us? Guys, are you there? Hello, guys.
Hello, sir.
Yes, are you there?
So yes, we are here.
Right. Any question,
There's
addition?
a question that I want to ask.
Go ahead and ask.
Oh, okay. We are four actually at West School. We are about six in number, and we learned there is a general group being created, of which we've shared members according to groups. And we just got to know from one of our colleagues, and we are not part.
I think there are two major groups for this course. We have the Beard Arts group and the Beard Early Childhood. We are in Beard Early Childhood. It is one group. And then those doing beard art, they are also being handled by a different lecturer, right? So
Oh, okay.
we have not formed our groupings yet. I wanted everybody to get online on the platform so that we get to know the total number of students we have to enable us do the groupings.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you can find out from your colleagues who belongs to a group now, whether they are reading beard arts or they are reading beard early childhood. If they are beard arts, you are not part of them. You are under early childhood.
Oh, okay.
Is that
All right.
okay? And as
Yes.
we are speaking, that group is having their lecture. The lectures run concurrently.
So for me, for instance, I'm offering GHS education.
Is it beard early childhood or beard arts?
No, for us, it is not merely categorized under that. It's basic GHS education,
Right.
RME social studies.
Right. All
Yes.
right. So what I know is what I have said, but the bottom line is we haven't done our groupings yet. We'll do our groupings probably by the close of today's lecture. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Pat, your hand
Thank
is
you, sir.
up. If you have anything to say, Pat.
Thanks.
Sir, please, the soft copy, it's not part of our module. So are we supposed to go and buy the books or
Hey, Auntie Pat, where have you been? Are you on the platform, this course platform?
yes, please?
I even put PowerPoints there and the book, I put it on it the other time. So
Hey,
I can tell your colleagues, your friends to put the book on the platform again, okay?
yes.
In fact, it's even one of
Okay,
your friends. It is one of your friends that uploaded the material on the platform. His name is Fresh Kiss. He is the one that puts it on the platform. So he can do that again for you to get access to it, okay?
okay, thank
Right.
you.
Or you can ask your colleagues as well. Then they will send the course to you, the material to you. And all of us have to rigorously start studying the material because I'm told next week you are having your first quiz or something like that. Right. So let us move to what we have to do today. And Anita, your hand is up.
Yeah,
Can you quickly make your
yeah.
submission for us to move on? Yes.
Sir, me too. I don't have the soft copy of the model.
And these things are all your duties to find them. Oh. You need to get the link because I believe that the course pack, they have given you the cloud link that you just click, and then you select the courses you want and download the materials.
I went to the link and this particular course is not there.
Oh, it is there, madam. It is there, Papa. It is there. You go level 100, then you pick is it beard arts or education? Education. And then you go again, beard arts or beard early childhood. And then you look for
Okay,
introduction to the study of religion and human. That is where I downloaded it.
okay. So, sir,
But
concerning what the rest of people were complaining, my center is Akokere College of Education, and I'm the only person here. So, how will I do my group presentation and
don't
all this?
worry, you join the angels and the ghosts and all the spirits that are at Akrokeri, and they will be your group members. So that is just a joke. The answer is that the groupings will not be based on centers. You can be in Akrokeri and your group member will be in Akimoda. You do things online. You communicate online, get your things done, and during the presentation, when we are all online like this, both of you agree who is going to speak first, who is going to add what to what, and then we go. Is that okay?
Okay. So,
Right.
sir,
So,
another
so
part. This
go
course
ahead.
has crashed with human land issues. I'm having human land issues right now.
That issue is beyond me. I think there's a gentleman monitoring the course. He is from Code. So maybe if he has heard what you just said, we plead with him or her to take an action to ensure that this is rectified. Did you join this course last week?
No, please.
This is your first time,
Yes, please.
and this is our third meeting. Wow. Anyway, we can't do anything about that for now. Right, guys, can you see the screen? I've already put a PowerPoint on your platform as well, but can you see my screen? Am
Yes,
I
please,
talking
sir.
to
You can
someone?
see it.
Yes,
Right, you
we
can see
can
the
see.
screen.
Yes, please.
Cheers.
Yes.
So at the top there is methodology for the study of religion. Right. And religion, as we have already indicated, is a system of practice. It's, if you like, it's an institution, a very complex system that has two major components. It has observable aspect, that is those practical things. There's their dressings, their prayer life, their rituals, their scriptures, their performances. Those are things that are observable. Then we have the non-empirical aspect or non-observable aspect. For example, the concept of dream, existence of heaven, existence of ghosts, religious experience, and all those things, healing, things that are going on at the spiritual level. These are things that are not tangible to the eyes. And because of these two qualities of religion, having an empirical aspect and a non-empirical aspect, it calls for a scientific method that could enable scholars to adequately examine the concept of religion, do examination of it. Like, let's take breast cancer, for example. If a woman, when there is a breast cancer week awareness or month, we know what the examination entails. So a doctor or even the woman herself stands in the mirror and then closely examine the breast in order to draw conclusion whether it is healthy or it is giving some symptoms of breast cancer. And the same is done at the hospital. So the students of religion, we are also going to use these scientific principles and ideas. I believe somebody's microphone is on. Anita, if you are the one, please mute your microphone quickly. Right. The student of religion also examines the subject, and the subject matter of our study is religion. The subject matter of the study of religion is religion, not any other thing. We are not coming to study philosophy. We are coming to study religion, and that is our subject matter. And we are coming to study the religious behavior, the religious beliefs, the religious thoughts, expressions, actions, how they come by these actions, how they explain the origin and the meaning and the reasons behind all the things that they do. That constitutes the meaning that they give to events, even in life. That is what is important to us, and that constitutes the subject matter for the study of religion. But to be able to study this subject matter, we need certain tools, we need certain principles, we need certain guidelines that can help us to categorize the things that we are going to study, that can help us to interpret the data that we are going to study, the information, the religious behavior. So that is what we mean by the methodology for the study of religion. Right. The scientific study of religion began somewhere in the 19th century, but before then, the study of religion was mere doctrinal, and it did not really follow rigorous scientific step. It was the 19th century which was also influenced by this idea of scientific positivism and evolution, logical positivism, and the rest that would influence scholars to think of how religion can be studied in a well organized and systematic manner. There are a lot of scholars that have done several works on the study of religion. Among them include Max Muller, Joachim Vac, Gerardus van der Leeuw, Geoffrey Parinder, Messi Eliade, and the rest. These people, these scholars, use certain approaches or certain tools that made the study of religion more scientific. And in conclusion, when we put all the works that they did together, there is one conclusion that they all came to. And the conclusion is that the study of religion must be phenomenological. The study of religion must be phenomenological. And what they mean by this is that the study of religion must be based on empirical facts, objectivity. The data that to be studied should be that which can be verified by an independent body, and that the conclusions that one draws from the study of religion should be free from value judgment. When we put these four criterion together, then it makes the study of religion phenomenological. But before I proceed, I want to spend a little time on this concept of phenomenology. The concept of phenomenology is a philosophical concept, and the opposite of this term phenomenology is what we call noumen, N-U-M-E-N, noumen. Now, noumen refers to the thing in itself, a thing in itself. So if I ask you, what is the human being? What about you that makes you human? Is it your eye, your ears, your soul, your energy, your ability to talk? Is it your mind? So what is the human being in itself? That is the noumen. So that is the thing in itself, the very nature of the thing, the intrinsic quality or core component of the thing. That is what we call the noumen, the thing in itself. So for the study of religion, we cannot know the thing in itself, but we can rather study the external manifestation or behavior of that thing. So, for example, we can know your type of human being by the way you behave, your preferences, your taste, your likeness, your choice of music, your choice of friends, your attitude, your temperament, your hobbies, your likes, your career dreams, your type of friends, the way I've already mentioned temperament. So all these external behavior, when we study them, it can lead us to know the very thing in you that makes you a human being. Because we cannot directly get to know you in itself, we can know you in yourself through the various dimensions that you behave and the things that I have mentioned. Your temperament, your choice of food, your choice of ideas, your beliefs, your superstitions, your ideas, your type of friends, your worldview, your temperaments, and all the things put together that would lead us to draw conclusion about you in yourself. So that is phenomenon and noumen. So the study of religion must be phenomenological, means that it must be based on the tangible things that can be seen. we must study the external behavior of religion in order to arrive at its core nature. So phenomenology simply refers to the study of the observable and tangible aspects of religion, which are guided by these four scientific criteria: the study of empirical data or empirical facts, that which can be made available, that the study must be based on objective approach, no prejudice, no predetermined conclusion, no racial comments, no prejudice, no um, subjective criticisms, no. And then that which one is studying should be based on first-hand data, that which another person can follow the same steps to be able to arrive at the same or similar conclusions, and that the study must be based or should be value free and mustn't be based on a person's value judgment. Right. So that is what we refer to as the scientific study of religion. Another word for scientific study of religion is phenomenological study of religion. And I've tried to explain what we mean by phenomenological study of religion. Right. Now, there are three methodologies, and these are the philosophy of religion, that is the phenomenology, the study of religious communities' functionalism, and the study of aspects of belief, practices, and experiences of followers of a particular religion. That is lived religion. Lived religion. So we can employ one of these major methodologies, but the one that this course focuses on is phenomenology. Phenomenology, which I have already explained. Now, phenomenology has it that two major approaches would guide a student's use of phenomenology. The first one is a descriptive approach, and the second one is interpretive approach. Interpretive approach. When we talk about descriptive simply talk about the fact that one is giving information about the external behavior of an event, of the religious behavior of people. And it was developed by a very renowned philosopher by name Edmund Husserl. And the interpretive phenomenology was also developed by Martin Heidegger. Martin Heidegger. Now, when we take descriptive phenomenology, it is about the relationship between consciousness and object of knowledge, with emphasis on the object or the things in themselves. So your awareness that something exists outside the human being, and the relationship between human awareness and those things that exist out there. So we employ this this descriptive approach in order to arrive at the very essence. When we say the very essence, we mean the very character of religion itself. Without describing the thing into details, you will not be able to arrive at the very character of that concept. So that is what we mean by descriptive phenomenology. And there is emphasis also on objectivity when doing descriptive phenomenology. Now, the interpretive phenomenology, also known as hermeneutic phenomenology, it deals with interpretation of a text or language and how that can be used as a methodology or an enhancement of phenomenology. Now, let us take the Quran or the Bible or the indigenous proverbs, myth, Edinkra symbols that exist in African traditional religion. Now, when you pick each of them has to be interpreted within their context so as to understand why people relate to these objects the way they do. So a text is less useful until it is interpreted. The message of the Quran cannot be received without interpretation. The message of the Bible cannot be received without interpretation. Now, when we are doing interpretive hermeneutics or phenomenology, what it simply means that one has to adopt certain approach to let the meaning of the text, of the object, of the drawing or the artifact to come out itself. So normally scholars ask this question: does meaning lie in the text, or meaning lie behind the text, or meaning lies in front of the text? Where do we find meaning? Is meaning determined by the one reading the text, or meaning is determined by the history of the text, or meaning is determined by the syntax, the grammar, the arrangement, that is the internal characteristics of the written text itself? Who determines the meaning? Is it the writer or the reader or the listeners? If the text says Jesus wept, what does it mean? Can we find the meaning from the one who wrote the text, or the meaning will be decided by the one reading the text, or the meaning will be decided by the users, the community that use the text? So we use interpretive hermeneutics in order to understand this religious text and language, and meaning making is very important. As we are speaking today, people are all over their religious churches, and they are engaging in this meaning making exercise. Their pastors are interpreting text to them, and they themselves are also reinterpreting what they are hearing in order to make sense out of that. Right. Now, doing phenomenological study of religion as proposed by Edmund Husserl has to be guided by two principles. Now, mind you, we have mentioned that phenomenology has two approaches: descriptive approach and interpretive approach. Either of these approaches must be guided by two principles, and the principles are epoche and eidetic. All these are, I think, probably Latin or Greek words. Epoche or epoche, the principle of epoche or epoche, whichever way you want to pronounce it, and eidetic, vision. Now, epoche comes from a Greek word which simply means to hold back or to suspend or to bracket one's faith. Applied to the study of religion, it simply refers to the conscious suspension of one's judgment regarding a phenomenon, regarding a concept under study. So we want to study libation. What it means is that as a student of religion, you might be a Christian biased, you might be probably an Islamic biased, or you might even be somebody that is not interested in religion at all. And that is also a bias. When we say that you should activate your epoche, or you should be guided by epoche. It simply means that consciously you must try and mentally put away all judgment, all prejudice that you have about libation. Don't draw conclusions about libation. Pitch yourself as a child who doesn't know anything and is ready to learn. That is what epoche simply means. It means temporary suspension of all one's preconceived notions, biases about the concept that's understood. The point is that if you are going to study something, a practice, a behavior, a belief, and you do not tame your prejudice and your prejudice influence you that much, at the end of the day, you are going to draw premature conclusions about a thing, and it is not, you are not going to be a successful student. Your conclusions will not be reliable because your conclusions will be determined by your preconceived thoughts, the ideas you have already formed about the subject, and that will make your study not reliable or scientific. Ninian Smart, one of the contemporary scholars of religion, has termed the principle of epoche as methodological agnosticism and bracketing. It means that, at least for that temporal moment that you are studying, behave like an agnostic person, that I don't know and I don't want to know. I don't want to draw conclusions. Whether God exists or does not exist, it's not my business. I just want to study what these people are saying. Whether what they believe in makes sense or it doesn't make sense, I don't want to see anything. I just want to study it as it is. And what they tell me would inform my overall conclusion, not what I think. So you try to make yourself an agonistic person, somebody who is a bit skeptical and would not want to draw conclusions, take entrenched stance and positions about what is going to be studied. Advantages of epoche is that, one, when you use epoche, it makes you to study religion objectively without committing to them, and at the same time rejecting them. For example, using ourselves as an example, all the scholars of religion in the religion department of the University of Cape Coast, University of Ghana, University of Science and Technology, and all other universities in Ghana and abroad and everywhere, this concept has guided them, that they have been able to faithfully study religion or component aspects of religion in different religious traditions without committing to them and without rejecting them. They feel at home to study the religion. The participants believe in them and are comfortable sharing information with them. But these scholars do not commit or become members of each of these religious traditions. The second thing is that it gives one the sense of humility to acknowledge and to accept the fact that religious traditions other than one's own have their own rights or have the right to their own peculiar dogma. See, another benefit of being aware and using epoche principle is that it cultivates in you the sense of humility and accommodation. You are able to accommodate the diversity, the so foreign religious ideas that may seem strange and bizarre to you, yet without condemning them. You become humble. You treat religious issues with a sense of deep respect and humility. You don't trivialize people's religious ideas. You don't use words that will not be acceptable to the believers of religion. You don't want to say that these people are mad. If you are a student of religion and you are coming to study me, I am praying on the mountain and say, these people, they are out of their mind. They are mad people. Do you think me, the one doing it, I'll refer to myself as mad person? So your description is not something that I, the believer, I am going to endorse. And if I will not endorse the term that you are using for me, then you would have a problem. Then you cannot be a successful researcher of religion. So the humility to acknowledge the place of every religious tradition and to respect their uniqueness is going to be enhanced when one applies the principle of epoche. Right, there are other benefits there that one can look at, but the challenges with epoche is that one cannot practice epoche to its logical conclusion. What it means is that you and I, every human being is a reflection of his or her total experiences and culture. If you have been brought up as a Christian, as a Muslim, and all your experiences in life are Christian or Muslim experiences, you cannot completely tame all these experiences completely, so as to be very objective in your study of religion. Chances are that there will be some influences that may run, but being aware of it, at least it helps. So we are saying that epoche cannot be practiced to its logical conclusion. One is likely to be influenced by his or her prior knowledge based on the phenomenon, since he or she lived what that has experienced. You are your experience. I am my experience. Right? And sometimes we cannot completely empty ourselves of all our experiences. And if you cannot do that, it makes the principle of epoche sometimes difficult to practice to its logical conclusion. Right. Now, the principle of epoche claims that, or makes the researcher to accept all claims as unquestionable truth. And that is also quite problematic. The principle of epoche is telling the researcher that do not question what the believer tells you. But what about if what the believers are telling you are contradictory? Believer one said A and believer one said B. How are you supposed to react to these contradictions or apparent contradictions in the report that you receive from believers? Since epoche does not want you to make a judgment on this report. That is another challenge that scholars are dealing with regarding the principle of epoche. Right. Now we go to the other principle which guides the phenomenological or the scientific study of religion. And this principle is called the eidetic vision, the eidetic intuition or vision. Now, the principle of eidetic vision invites the student to study what we call the ethos of religion, the ethos of religion or the ethos of religion. Now, the word ethos, from its Greek origin, simply implies the very nature or form of a phenomenon under study. Now, mind you, the word phenomenon is singular and its plural is phenomena. So we may have different phenomena, but when we pick one, we single one out to study, it becomes phenomenon. So for example, prayer is a phenomenon, but we have different religious practices, which we can term them as different religious phenomena. And prayer is just one of them as phenomenon. Right now, when we take prayer as an example, we want to study prayer using eidetic vision. Eidetic vision invites the student to study the very nature or the very form, what constitutes prayer. What is the very nature or characteristics, the very core characteristics of prayer? Not the external irrelevant characteristics. We want to study the thing in itself. So, for example, the prayer, let us take a contemporary Christian prayer, the ones that the Pentecostals and charismatic people do. Kabo, kaba, kabo, kaba. Then they are jumping, clapping hands. Some are shouting, ooh, ooh, and then some are rolling on the floor. And sometimes there is music. The organ man is also playing the piano. And then some people are having the tamboli. They are making all those noise and all that. Some are jumping and screaming on top of their voice. Now, when you put all these together, what is the very essence of prayer? What is that in all these activities that we refer to as prayer? And that is what is referred to as the ethos or the essence of the phenomenon, which is prayer. Now, the essence of prayer is that it is a communication. It is a communication between a practitioner, a believer, and the object of worship through various modes and forms. So the essence of prayer is that it's a communication. It's a discourse between a human agent and, if you like, an invincible agent. So it's a two-way sort of a meeting. It's an executive discourse, a solemn discourse that takes place between a believer and the object of worship. Right. So the eidetic vision would say that while we are trying to unearth the very nature of the phenomenon under study, the researcher mustn't forget the principle of epoche. Even when you are studying the very essential nature of the thing, you must still be guided by epoche. Lest you draw value judgment, lest your prejudices and your forejudgments affects you. And so even when you are doing eidetic vision, when you have set out to study the very nature of a religious concept, practice, phenomenon, you must be still guided by the tenets of epoche. Now, how do we do eidetic vision? What are the tools that are needed? One of the major important tools to do eidetic vision or to study the essentials of a religion, the first and foremost is the spirit of humility, academic humility. And that is very important. A student of religion must exhibit a deep academic humility towards participants of a particular religion, towards a religious ritual. Whereas the non-religious person can make sarcastic comment or certain comment and go free, the religious scholar, is a shame on a religious scholar to pass or to ridicule or to make an insensitive comment about a religious component, about a religious practice of any particular group of people. So the first important one is one must have humility. One must acknowledge that you don't know everything about even the subject of study. There is a scholar who says that he who knows all knows none, and that is Max Muller regarding the scientific approaches for the study of religion. He says that if you boast to know everything, then it is likely that you don't even know anything. So you must consciously tell yourself, this thing that I am going to study, I don't know much. Even if I know, at least I don't know much. I am willing to learn more, to know more. And that is the spirit of humility. Now, the researcher must also commit himself or herself to collect first-hand data. You don't dwell on the secondary sources and tertiary sources. For example, sometimes this is very interesting. A student of religion, you cannot study African traditional religion from the pulpit. You are a Christian and you're a student of religion. Your pastor cannot be the one to tell you about African traditional religion. No, your pastor is not an expert on African traditional religion. You must go to the believers themselves. Go to the Ahimfis, be part of the traditional ceremonies and festivals that are performed. Ask first-hand questions from the believers themselves. Immerse yourself into the religious culture and study things at first hand. Be willing to undergo initiation rites in order for you to be accepted as a credible person, so that they would open certain information or data for you to study. There is one scholar at the University of Cape Coast who wanted to study witchcraft, forgotten his name, and as part of the way to study witchcraft, he was also initiated to become a witch. He has to undergo the ritual so that they would see him as one, to give him all the necessary tools that he needed to also, if you like, in quote, to also become a witch, in order to study the phenomenon of witchcraft from a scientific point of view. Now, if you're not ready to undergo that initiation, you can't sit in the comfort of your room or rely on the comments or the interpretation of propagandas somewhere and say that I know something about African traditional religion because I learned it from my pastor, when you yourself has never had any informal discourse with even a traditional priest or priestess, or with chief custodians of African traditional religion. So the principle of eidetic vision requires the researcher to study first-hand data, go to the field, go to the practitioners. If it is about interpretive phenomenology, study the ancient languages of the text themselves. For example, you can't read the English Quran and says that you have understood what the Quran is saying. To be able to do a credible study of the Quran, you must know the Arabic. You must know the ancient languages and be able to read the text in its original language. Unfortunately, some of our pastors who are moving around and boasting of interpreting scripture cannot even read the scripture in its original language. But, well, they are not doing an academic work. But if you want to do an academic work of a passage, then you can't rely on translations. You need to study, you need to be able to get the tools of reading the text in its original language, in its original context, so as to be able to contribute to debates and discussions on that particular text. So that is what eidetic vision tells us to do. The third one is that the researcher, I think that's all, these are the two. The third one is that the researcher must also employ what is called empathetic neutrality. The researcher must employ what we call empathetic neutrality. Empathetic neutrality is that you must put yourself in a situation where you can feel like the believer. You can see like the believer. You can understand, you can appreciate what the believer is appreciating, yet without forgetting that you are a researcher, without crossing that boundary. So mentally, there must be a boundary in your mind that, yes, I am a researcher and I want to see things as believers. For example, the believers are crying and you are also crying. The believers are in frenzy. For example, they are praying and they are all in frenzy. The pastor touched them and everybody is turning around, falling down. And you, the researcher, the pastor touches you and you have also fallen down. Then who is the one going to do the study? So yes, you must understand the things as they experience and feel like the way they feel. Yet you must not cross the line. You are a researcher and not a believer. That is what is referred to as empathetic neutrality. Now, to be able to study or to do eidetic study of religion, a certain scholar, again, Ninian Smart, has enumerated what he referred to as the dimensions of religion. Dimensions of religion. And these dimensions serves as a gateway to understand the very ethos of religion. Remember, I have told you that religion, the very character of religion, the essence of religion itself cannot be known, but we can know that through its external manifestation when we study it phenomenologically. So these dimensions help us to study religion phenomenologically, and by doing so, it leads us to understand the very nature or essence of the phenomenon itself. So these dimensions include ritual dimension, experiential dimension, methodological dimension, structural dimension, social dimension, ethical dimension. And that is what Ninian Smart asks us to follow. So, for example, when you take every religion has all these dimensions. There is no religion in this world which has not got rituals, which has not got myths, which has not got doctrines or ethical teachings or social organization, which has not got the concept of religious experience or it leadership structure. So every religion has these components. Now we'll go through them briefly. We go through these dimensions briefly. The details of the information can be found in your course material itself. Now, when you take ritual dimension, every religion engage in what we call certain repetitive or recurrent form of behavior and practice. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever observed Juma prayer or even a Muslim brother performing prayer. You would see that the prayer follows a particular pattern, clear pattern. If you have not done ablution, you can't start the prayer. And even the ablution, you can't start from where you want. It's a formula. There are words you are supposed, in fact, you even have to put yourself in a very particular mental state or mood before you even start. And all these are parts of the ritual. So ablution or prayer is a ritual. Catholic Mass is a ritual. Pentecost praises and worship is a ritual. All the things that are done as practices of religion, the technical word for them are religious rites and ceremonies or rituals. Now, when you go to the Catholic Church and they are performing Mass, you see, the pastor or the priest will not say that today, I want the Mass to be performed this way, that I will just eat the bread before I start saying that this is the body of Christ given to you. No, that is not what the ritual is. African traditional priest or priestess who is performing libation prayer will not say that let's throw the bottle away and then let's just say the words and go home. No. So every religion, all the practices in religion follow well-arranged, repetitive formats. And they involve the outward expression of religion, but with an inner meaning or intention. These outward activities that are done, for example, the kneeling, for example, a Muslim going to Juma prayer will not enter the mosque with the slippers or the sandals or the foot. Now that's an outward behavior. Removing the sandals is an outward behavior, but with an inner meaning. What is the inner meaning? The inner meaning has to do with the sense of humility and respect to Allah. And that is the inner meaning behind the outward behavior of removing one's sandals. And that's the same thing that happens at the traditional shrines as well. So this ritual behavior are symbolic. All the ritual behavior are symbolic in nature. And it is unfortunate that, and well, it is not because it's unfortunate, but it is just a calculated and conscious propaganda of other religions to say that people in African traditional religion are worshipping man-made and empty objects, human carcass and animals, and if you like, toys and all these man-made objects as if they are mad people. Well, that is a propaganda, but you should know today that all the objects there are symbolic. They are instruments that aid the religious believer to communicate to the object of worship. This, for example, the Muslim praying with the tax bill, having the tax bill in his hand, and then he moved from one dice to the other and then reciting the prayer. What do we say about that? What do we say about the Catholic paying homage or bowing before the throne of God, the statues, or if you like, the altar? Let me call it the altar, the communion altar. They are also bowing before an image. What do we make of that? What about the Pentecostal charismatic people who leave even their parents and fathers and they call these small boys daddy, mama, papa? You look at the gray in your hair and you call a small boy papa, dada. And sometimes even what they tell you, the respect that you give to those words, their directions. And sometimes the reverence even become ambiguous and can be translated as even worship. But all these people turn around and condemn that of African traditional religion. That's it's just a propaganda. But as a student of religion, you will get to understand that all the symbols and all the religious behavior are symbolic. They are supposed to be interpreted. There are deeper meanings behind them. And that's what we refer to as ritual dimensions. When we talk about mythological dimension, there are myths in every religion. And the non-student of religion, or maybe hitherto this class, you thought that when we talk about myth, there is no myth in Christianity. There is no myth in Islam. Everything in Islam is true. It's fact. It happened as it is. Jesus was born by Virgin Mary. He died. He resurrected. There are records showing, and you even want to go to every extent of proving these things. And when we talk about myth is only African traditional religion. When that woman was pounding fufu and disturbing God, and then God said, I am taking my seat far away. But myth underline every religion. Every religion has a mythological component. And in the Christian perspective, the whole of Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 11 is considered as mythological accounts. The birth story of Jesus, the resurrection of Jesus are all mythological stories. So the question is, what are myths? Myths are not false stories. They are not fairy tales, as the non-religious expert would put it. But in the study of religion, the proper meaning of myth is that they are stories that are considered to be true by the religious community and the believers, even though science cannot prove their authenticity. So when we talk about myths are cherished stories in every religious tradition. For example, the Prophet Muhammad meeting angel Jibril in the cave of Hira is a myth. It's a story that is cherished by the Islamic community. In fact, the whole of Islamic religion cannot stand if you take away that myth. The religion is built on these stories that are taken, religious stories that are taken as truth stories, and unquestionable stories. They are not questioned. Nobody even, I have never seen a true Muslim who would tell me, who would ask that, hey, so did Muhammad really meet the Prophet in the cave? No, a true Muslim will not. It is taken for granted. He met the angel. The angel revealed, there is no otherwise. It is true. Hey, isn't a virgin that gave birth to Jesus? It is not a question that a true Christian would even wonder to, except the person is doing an academic study, but it is something taken for granted. And that is what makes the religion is built on these, if you like, ancient stories that are taken to be true, and they constitute the very foundation of the religion. They talk about the origins of certain beliefs and relation of faith or rituals. They are an attempt to give systematic clarity and intellectual power to what is revealed through myth and symbolic language. So doctrines are carefully laid down explanation, systematic explanation, carefully arranged, and this is the work of the human mind. It's the use of the human mind in the religious community to carefully arrange and interpret, give clarity to the revelation, the methodological component that exists in the various religions. The next one is ethical dimension. Every religion has the concept of ethics, in other words, principles of what is right and what is wrong, and do's and don'ts for the members. And that constitutes the ethical dimension. It is a concrete expression of the nature of the ultimate reality. The ethics reveals the character of the deity that is worshipped. And so it's religious people would always encourage the members to behave in one way or the other, avoid evil, do good. And every religion preaches virtue and condemns vice. Every religion preaches virtue and condemns vice. Sometimes when people say that there is nothing good in this religion, that this religion is bad, now you ask yourself, what about their teachings of good and bad? Or their teachings about what is good and what is not good? Their teachings against corruption, bribery, and the rest. Are those ones also bad? Can't we find anything good in every religion? If nothing at all, what about their ethical system? Every religion wants to bring up responsible people who care for nature, who are peaceful, who are sociable, who are forgiving, who are loyal, and who are also hospitable. Every religion, Islam, Christianity, African traditional religion. So on what basis can we even one legitimately stand somewhere and condemn one religion when you know that that religion equally promotes the same thing that you are promoting in your religion? It's quite funny. Right. Now, I'll skip the social dimensions and talk about the experiential dimension. The experiential dimension talks about this concept of a divine encounter, an encounter that people have with the ultimate reality, or if you like, the divine entity in that particular religion. I have mentioned Prophet Muhammad's encounter with Angel Jibril. That is considered as a religious experience. When you read the book of Acts of the Apostles, it talks about an encounter between Paul and the resurrected Christ on his way to Damascus. That is also an example of religious experience. There is an encounter when this man, Osofo, what is his name? The man who established MDCC, Muzano Disco Christo Church, he also underwent religious experience. All the Duncan Williams and the Otables and all of them you have around you. In fact, people even before they say, oh, God has called me, they would want to compose a story to give an account of a unique encounter that they think that they have had, which they interpret as the call of God upon their lives. And that is what we call religious experience. There are two types of it. We have ordinary experience and dramatic experience. Ordinary experience can come by just reading your book. You can be reading your Bible and then you can get an insight. Reading your religious text, observing nature, you can have ordinary religious experience. Right. Then we have the dramatic one. The dramatic ones are the examples I mentioned, that of Prophet Muhammad, that of Paul on his way to Damascus, that of Buddha. Buddha also had an enlightenment under a certain tree, we call it the Bo tree. That is where he came to the realization of the four noble truths about life. That what's the first noble truth? That maybe you can go and read about it. Buddha's four noble truths. That's suffering is part of nature. Right? And craving is the source of our suffering. Craving, wanting more, wanting to become this, wanting that, according to Buddha, is the cause of suffering. And suffering can be extinguished through when one follows Buddha's eightfold path of teaching. So these are the things he also came about. Right. I would end here and ask for questions and additions before we move on to do the next thing we told ourselves to do today. Any question, guys? Are you there, guys? Agovia. Well, it's only Tete who is here. The rest are minding their business somewhere.
No, we are here.
Yeah, but I've been calling you and nobody responded. What did you hear for the 1 hour non-stop that I have been talking? Everybody must share what he or she heard with us. We start with Tete. Yes.
Okay.
Mind you, your 20 marks are in my pocket. As for your quiz, you are going to decide what to get. But the group presentation, I can decide on your scores based on your activeness and your attention on this platform. So whatever you tell me, if you are able to tell me something that makes me very, 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 very convinced that yes, you are really paying attention, I can start issuing some of the 20 marks I have for you right now. So let's start.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Right.
Please, I'm presenting on the tools needed for the designation of the institution. So I got to know that as a student, if you want to know something or when you are researching, you need to humble yourself to get the requisite knowledge you are opting for. And again, to as a researcher too, you need to be simple and rely on secondary, or we shouldn't rely on only the secondary sources, but rather we need to combine all the sources so that we can deduce the information and other relevant issues we want to take.
All right. Thank you. The next person. Maybe I should call names. You want me to call names?
Hello, sir.
Where is Aso? Okay, Martha, you're on the floor.
Sir, please, I also learned about the dimensions that students should study or you should focus on. I learned about the rituals and also the etiquette. So the ritual deals with what goes on within each religion. You made like the libation and then the Catholic mass. So all of these are the rituals within each religion that we out of it. We shouldn't put down.
All right, where are my Akimodan people? The Akimodan cohorts, where are they? Let's hear from them.
We just spoke of Jonathan and Martha.
That's who matter.
I just explained.
Is part also in Akimodan?
Yes, please.
Okay, let us hear you, Pat.
Oh.
Yes, Pat, share with us what you heard.
Sir, please, I'm not from Achimodang. I'm from Central, UCC main campus.
All right, so let us listen to you, Pat.
So, for me, I learned about 6 students must focus in order to understand the religion and the studies. And one is about and one is about the social. And the social deals with how the students relate to people. Yes, how he or she copes.
Pat, where the empha? So what is phenomenology? What is phenomenology? The whole class. Somebody should answer the question.
Hey, please, I have a with the phenomenology. I really didn't understand that part.
That's why I have asked somebody would explain it for you to understand. What is phenomenology of religion? The whole class. Guys, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, Anita.
Yes. So
What did you hear about phenomenology of religion?
phenomenology religion talks about the studying of religious experiences and then the phenomena like their beliefs, rituals, and stuff. So that's what I heard about phenomenology of religion.
Okay, that is not bad. At least you have said yes, said something. That's good. We saw a hand up. Someone's hand is up. Can the person go ahead and talk?
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, Ibrahim.
Yeah. What I can say is it's a philosophy approach that focuses on subjective experience or how we experience things.
Right. So apply to the study of religion. What does it say to us? What is required of us as students of religion if we are studying religion phenomenologically?
It's how we focus on our religion.
Yes. So the definition you gave on phenomenology in general is good. That is the subjective approach to the study of our experiences and our environment around us. Very good. But when applied to the study of religion, we are looking at the study of the external manifestations of the phenomenon of religion. That is what we need to keep in mind.
Okay,
right.
sir.
Good. Now, if you are not talking, please mute your microphone. If you are not on the floor, kindly mute your microphone.
Okay, sir. And microphone can.
Yeah, there is a hand up. Pat.
Yeah, please, can you say, can you explain it that is the study of religion that observe, practice, belief, experience, and event
Please take it again.
is the study of religion. A. It refers to the observance, practice, belief, experience, and events that occur in a religion.
Yes. So studying the observable aspects of religion is what we call phenomenology. So what you said is correct. Okay. All right. Hello. Madam Evelyn. Hello, Evelyn.
Hello, sir.
Good. Do you have anything to share with us?
Yes, sir. Please, the principles of the epoche and the epidetic vision. It talks it talks about when we come to the epoch, it talks about we holding back of what we have learned previously in our religion. So it's all about emptying oneself before learning this course about religion. We not being judgmental in the religion that we are learning. That's the epoch vision.
What about the eidetic vision?
And the eidetic vision is about what we see, what we see, acknowledging that we know nothing about what we have already about our religion. So, example, if we are a Christian, we put aside all the things we have learned in our Bible and observe the example the traditional religion, maybe how they pour their libation. We observe it by not judging them on what they do.
Great. So the eidetic vision focuses on studying the very character or the essential components of religion through its dimension, through the various dimensions. So we study the very essence of the thing by looking at the dimensions. That is what eidetic vision is. And some of the dimensions are what we have mentioned here: ethics, experiential, ritual, doctrinal, and the rest. Okay. All right. Now, Martha, your hand is up.
And then, please, please, I want to ask the question.
Go ahead.
So, please, based on what you explained about um, the study of the relevant events in religion. So please, what about some of the events experienced by feeling, not as in observing them? Example, in the traditional religion, when we have great possession, is it also part of the, how was it?
Did you say spirit possession?
Yes, in the religion.
Yes. But what about even I don't know whether you have ever attended Muzama or Muzano church before, when the angel descends on the leader. If you can mute your microphone. when the angel descends on the leader, right? And sometimes Angel Michael has descended on the person, and the person is speaking as if the angel Michael is the one speaking. What about when Christians go for prayer meetings and the pastor says that, wait, I am looking into the spirit, and he looks into the spirit and he or she is telling things about you. How do we study all these things? Mr. Sly, please mute your microphone.
So, please,
Thank
all
you.
of these are the experiences or the events.
Yes, I am adding some to the question that you asked. I'm just expanding your question before I answer it.
Okay.
Right. So good. So all these are things that we cannot easily observe them. That is why we call them non-empirical. They are non-empirical aspects of religion. So when we are doing when we are studying religion and we are to study these aspects, we need to study the external manifestation. What are the things that the person said when he or she was in that state, in that condition? What was the behavior? What are the person's actions? What are the utterances? Are they audible utterances?
Okay.
You understand? Aha. So it is more about observation, studying the observable, because it is this observable behavior that will help us to draw some conclusions on what the person said he or she has seen.
Okay.
Right? For example, Paul said that he has met Christ. That is what he said in Galatians. Now, take away all the long dramatic story in Acts of the Apostles. But when we study the entire life of that figure called Paul, from the time before the time he made the statement that I have seen Christ, or Christ has revealed himself to me, and then after, do we see any sharp difference? What was his character before? What is his character now? What are his teachings? What are his worldview? What is the manner of life? How does he behave? Can we trust him that he indeed saw something based on how we judge these two things? Right? And that is what will lead us to understand the experience that he said he has had. So if I just meet you, Martha, on the road and said, Martha, I have met Christ. I mean, that is not informative enough, because you can't delve into my mind to confirm whether indeed I met him or I didn't meet him. Now, what you can do is rather this. You need to then find information. What is this guy's life before he made this statement? What was he noted for? What is his lifestyle? What is his psychology? What are his hobbies? What are the places he used to visit before he made this statement? Now, we need to gather all this information, and then we need to then compare it with the after. Now, after he made the statement, what are the places you go to? What are the things you do? What are his actions? What is his behavior? What are the information about the people that live in the same household with him? What is his character? If he has a wife, how does he treat the wife? If he has siblings, what is his relationship with his siblings? Can all this information help me to make some meaning or some sense about what he told me that he has met Christ? But unfortunately, the religious person doesn't do this critical examination. It is only you and I, as students of religion, that are to ask these questions, to do this analysis, gather data, so that we can draw some academic conclusion about what the person said he or she has seen, and the effect that what he or she has seen is having on his life or her life and the life of the larger community. And that is what the study of phenomenology is about.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right. There's another hand up if you can get that person's question. That is Evelyn.
Sir, please,
Yes.
when you were talking, the methodological dimension of the methodological dimension, you gave an example of the old woman that was palming the fufu and
Open your
the
eyes, Evelyn. The
Christian.
word is mythological,
Okay,
mythology.
the mythological dimension.
Very good.
When you
Tenfold.
stated
Uh-huh.
when you stated that the old lady was pounding the fufu and the pistol was hitting
Right.
God and he went up. Do you have any Christian view of this mythological dimension, or it's
Yes,
only
I
based on the tradition?
yes, I mentioned a lot. I even mentioned the resurrection of Jesus. I mentioned the birth, Mary becoming pregnant by Holy Spirit and all of them. I mentioned even the miracles of Jesus walking on water. All of them are myth. All of them are stories that are believed to be true, yet cannot be proven scientifically. So, and they are the foundations of the religion. Every religion has its foundation in myth. Okay, so the creation of human being according to Genesis chapter, where is that? Genesis chapter 3 or Genesis chapter 2, where God molded a human being, breathed in his nostrils and all that and all that. All these constitute the origin myth in Judeo Judeo-Christian religions, right? So Christians do not question their myth, but they come to question and trivialize the myth in other religions. And it's the same way. Non-Christians would also not question their myth, but they would also come to question and trivialize the myth of other religion. So you see, it's quite political, right? When they discredit that, hey, how would you believe that the woman was pounding fufu and then God said you are disturbing me, so he went away, and you believe in this thing? But you believe that angel covered somebody and the person became pregnant, or somebody died 2 days and woke up. That one there you believe. Which one is? Are they all not stories?
Yes, yeah.
Aha. Right. So we want to say that myths are really respected in every religious tradition because they form the foundation of beliefs, rituals, ceremonies, rules, and regulations, and all of them are founded on their myth. So as academic students, you should understand myth as those fundamental stories which are considered to be true, and in fact, they are considered to be symbolically truth and factually truth and literary truth. They treat them as truth in every sense of the word truth, yet cannot submit to scientific investigation. That aspect is very important. No myth submit to scientific. If it is able to submit to scientific investigation and emerges as valid, then it is no longer myth. That which science can prove as factual is not myth, or that has happened and there's evidence, scientific evidence to indicate it, then it is not myth. Well, the cave in which Prophet Muhammad met Angel Gabriel is there. That cave is there as we are speaking today. All right. The river where John the Baptist baptized Jesus is there today. But the event itself, where we say angel and the sky opened, and the voice came like a dove and descended and said, "This is my beloved son." That one, how do we prove it? Where the angel said, "Muhammad, take this and read." How do we justify that? So that is what makes the event a methodological event and cannot be submitted to scientific investigation. Yet, they are very useful. Myths are very useful to all religious traditions because take the myth away and the religions cannot stand on their own. Religions are built on their methodological traditions and stories. Right. So, guys, I think we are already running out of time, and you are to prepare on this unit 1 to unit 3 for your first quiz, and we will try and then do the unit 4, and we would give ourselves group presentation. Now, let us do this. We can form our groupings just right now. How many are we on the class page? Let's get the number of people on the class page. Can somebody check and tell us? Can somebody check and tell us? There are, there are 36, there are 36 people on the class platform. Or is it 26? No, there are 36. So 36, if you
I
take
think
me
it's
out,
31.
you think it's 31?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Let's agree that it is
36 now.
31.
36 now. 36 now.
All right.
I think
So
some just
36, if you take me out and if you take the code officer on the platform also out, we would have about 35 or so. Now, how many groups do you think we should create for this course? Tell me, and I'll go by what you say.
So I would like to say something about the group.
Go ahead.
Like I'm in Kumasi West School,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we are 6 over here.
Mm-hmm.
Can it be a case that we can form a group?
Don't worry. Once we get the number, if 10 should be in a group, if 6 should be in a group, once we get there, you are at liberty to form your own, choose your own members according to your convenience. And so that one, I will not impose that on you. So let's agree. How many groups do you think we should have?
So if it's
One person at a time, guys. Martha, you said we should have how many?
Group. Let's say if we are 30, meaning assume we are 30, so meaning 5 members in each group, making 6. Or if it can be 5, meaning 6 members in each group, making 5.
So, Martha, you are suggesting either 5 or 6. Okay,
Yes,
we have
please.
noted that down. Any other person?
I think I'll agree to matter.
So you agree to Martha. Is that the decision of the class? We go by 6 or 5 groups. All right. Silence means compliance. Mr. Tete, you wanted to say something?
Yes, please. I second my sister.
All right, good. So we are going for either 5 groups or 6 groups. Now, how many members should constitute a group? That one to you should decide.
If it's going to be 5 groups, then I think 6 members.
6 members.
Yes.
Do we all agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Do we all agree to that?
Yes, please.
All right. If you all agree to that, this is what you are to do. Form your groups individually and put and choose a group number. When you have got your number, that is the 6 people, and you are reporting on the platform, say group 1. If there is already group 1, then it means you are going to type as group 2. If by the time you finish typing, somebody has posted group 2, it means you need to edit it and type it as group 3. So, and then with the names of the members and their index number or any relevant information that will help me to recognize, identify them. So if it is group 1, the names of those in group 1 and their index numbers, right? You should generate that on the platform. Once I have got all the groups, then I would also put on the platform the topics that you should choose among yourself. That one too, I'll not impose on the group. The group should choose the topic that it wants to present on. And I will develop that once I get the names, the list of the groupings. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Right. Can we start that right from today so that by the close of tomorrow we are done with the groupings and I'll issue the questions to you?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So let's do that. And if you have somebody that does not visit the platform, please tell the person to do so. And the grouping should not be defined by your geographical location. You can be anywhere and still join a group with somebody, since you would have your discussions online and the presentation will be done online. Okay.
Okay, please.
But let me put this across, which is very important. Um, it will not be my duty to chase after students who do not belong to a group or who did not take part in the group exercise. At the end of the day, those who present are those that that I have their information, are those that I'm going to present their scores or records to the assessment officer or my center coordinator for onward submission. I will not chase after students. So if you don't belong to a group, it is your duty. And coming to tell me, say, I don't belong to a group is a very irresponsible of you. I am not going to entertain that, because you have agreed here that you should form the groups yourself. So it is your duty to ensure that you belong to a group and pass this information to anybody you know that is supposed to be part of this class. Right. Thank you very much. Any question, anything again to talk about? Otherwise, we draw the curtains down here.
So, okay, on the social dimension, uh, I wanted to ask some of the challenges that may arise and how best those challenges can be addressed.
What are you talking
Mm,
about? Social
I'm,
dimensions of
yes,
religion?
since we said that talking about the social dimensions, we're talking about the community and social aspect of the religion, which includes people that interact with each other, the roles of the
Right.
leaders and members and others. So I was asking that what are some of the I don't know how to put it, some of the problems that they face and how these problems can be addressed.
Yeah. So, um, in every religious community, they also live as one social group. And within the social group, there are structures and assigned responsibilities. And the structures are just to enable people to express their religion and to promote the religious tradition they have inherited. So some of these institutions are like the institution of the prophethood or the prophetism, right? So in some religious community, we have prophets, we have the clergy and the laity. We have those that slide. Please put your microphone down.
Okay, please.
Right. We have those that in quote they really there is that social classification that, oh, these people are the priest in the church, these people are the pastor's sons and pastor's daughters, these people are the leaders of the church, and these ones are the lay members of the church, the common floor members. Yes, there can be problems when um the some members feel that they have been neglected, right, in terms of some social benefits that they also deserve to receive. I will use a concrete example, the concept of funeral. Now, you may belong to a religious community. When the pastor lost the father, the whole church went and stayed there, did a lot of things, donated money, foodstuffs, and church members. The church rented vehicles and went there and helped the pastor to bury the father. Ibrahim Imba, please behave. Right. But what about when the usher lost the father? only 2 people were appointed to go and then represent the church, irrespective of the distance. Sometimes they use the distance. The hometown is very far, and the church cannot spend extra money. Now, when this happens, it leads to dissatisfaction, and people feel that they have not been treated fairly. So these are some of the problems: treatment of unfairness, segregation, preferential treatment, and sometimes the we feeling, when people feel that they have been neglected in sharing of services in the church or in that community. All these are problems that may um, arise in the social institution. Sometimes too, the church can be in the news for saga. For example, the religious leader has engaged in an article a, unethical behavior that borders on um, criminal criminality. It puts the community in bad image of the entire nation, and people may feel very bad about belonging to that community. Right. So there are a lot of things that can affect the social organization of the religious community. And these are just few examples. For example, lack of job. If people belongs to this social community and the message of the teachings are not adapted in a way that could, if you like, promote the skills and encourage people who are looking for job to get jobs to do, and the message does not really reflect their lives and impact their life the way they want it to be impacted, over a time, dissatisfaction would arise. And when dissatisfaction arise, some of them may want to, if you like, part ways from the community. Some may even want to sort of um, set themselves apart, like leave the community to establish their own inner community. And that leads to what we call schism, which we will talk about, I think, in our next lecture. So there are lots of things that can happen in the social organization or social dimension of the church. And these are some ones that I have mentioned. Yeah,
Thank you very much, sir.
no problem at all. Right. So, in absence of any other question, let us end here, guys, and meet again. We are not meeting next week, right?
Yes, please.
And the week
Yes, please.
after next week too, we are not meeting.
As we'll be having the quiz.
Okay. So I wish you all the best. Please, if you happen to get any past questions, share with your friends on the platform so that they can also benefit from it. But do well to at least come by some past questions from those who have taken this course before, whether as a regular student or sandwich student or code student. Share the information on the platform to guide your revision towards the quiz. Okay.
Very
Okay,
much.
sir.
Right. And I wish you all the best. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
All right.